Welcome to Marketecture, where you can get smart fast with in-depth interviews of leading technology vendors. I'm Mike Shields, and I'm here with two guests today. Joe Kinsella, president of TV Squared by Innovid, and Blair Robertson, CTO of TV Squared by Innovid. Hello, Joe and Blair. Thanks for being here.
Hey, our pleasure.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Can you help me just understand what is in the platform? I'm imagining brands, they probably have website traffic data and sales data and their TV schedules, and they're plugging this all into this thing in this one place, and they can visualize, create a lot of visualizations and draw conclusions, or is that too simple? Like what is it? What's in the platform?
I'd say we start there. So we offer a range of services. We actually started with attribution. We did the hardest bit first, and then we kind of realized we'd also built measurement, which is a bit odd, but this is the way it happened for us. So essentially, the platform is genuinely a software as a service platform. You turn it on, an agency or can add a new brand in minutes, and then we connect two data sources. One is the impressions, and that could be any kind of media. It could be addressable, it could be national, local, CTV, anything with an impression tied to it goes into one endpoint. And if you want to do attribution and outcomes and to discover what to improve based on driving more value, then you have a second endpoint, which is your outcomes, which is web, app, location, third-party data sets, first-party data sets, whatever it happens to be. And then there's a range of different ways of connecting those two things together. There's not a lot of plugging in to do. It really is self-service. We have a fully managed team that will help our brands out. But really, you turn it on, the models run, they run continuously, and it's super configurable. I think Joel gave us the right number, but something like 50 different white label versions are in market with different enterprise businesses who use our platform, ask their platform to show what's being delivered to prove value and then to help their brands make optimization decisions based on the media.
I want to ask you about the white labeling product, but okay, so what you're describing to the layperson, that sounds kind of hard, like in terms of getting started, because I'm just imagining, okay, I just put all the impressions in. Well, that's like 5 different sources, and they're all calculated differently, and I probably have to do some sophisticated integrations. And then I'm imagining the same side. What is it like? How hard is it? Who's using this, I guess, and how do they do it? How difficult is it to get started?
Isn't it interesting though, Blair, that's Mike's perception? Because I think, Mike, that's what holds the industry back, right? Because people say, oh, it sounds kind of hard. And it's like, guess what? We've done all the integrations. We just need to know what campaign is running and we'll take care of the rest. In their head, it's much more complicated than that. And with Innovid providing every single impression, you don't even need a tag. Like, it's all done for you. But anyway, Blair.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've focused on making it simple. You don't need a bunch of PhDs sitting around to get results from our platform. You just don't. That's what it was like 10 years ago. It's not what it is like now. And really, we have focused on making it as easy as possible. So as Joe says, one of the most beautiful things about the merger with Innovid is the availability of data. Fragmentation of dispersal of audiences. That's what we're contending with in the market, and it's really where we help. So how easy is it? Well, it's dead easy. Basically, for linear TV, we're taking smart TV data. We do all that ourselves. The brand doesn't got to do anything, really. For CTV, all flavors of CTV and OTT as well, really depends on where we're getting the data from. Pre-acquisition, we had over 100 certified integrations with different publishers where we're taking ad server level data. And that's still an option. If you are doing a bunch of direct IOs and you're not ad serving through Innovid, then we can still track all the impressions on all the devices and all the households. But the really, really neat thing with Innovid is if you are an Innovid ad serving customer, and 40% of the top 200 biggest brands are, then literally every single impression on every publisher, on every device, and every household is coming through the ad server. And therefore we have all that data. There's no tagging required. There's no complex integrations to be done. That data comes directly into our platform, comes alongside any linear data you have. Also, MVPD data for addressable can come into the platform as well. All ends up in a beautiful, unified collection of impressions. And then we're starting from that position when we do our modeling, our measurement, and our attribution and outcomes, all from that position. So, in terms of the low touch, easy to use, it really is starting from a great position.
Who I'm imagining are most of your customers very data forward brands, like you mentioned, DTC brands that are already doing what you're describing on other media and they want to do it in television? Or are you helping the classic, the packaged goods and auto brands who have, had a little bit of a black hole in their ability to do this with television, this level of attribution? Who's your typical customer if you have one?
So I think it's a great question. When we started, Mike, it was performance-based brands. So you could have called it DR, and then it became, and then it kind of moved into D2C. As Blair said, brands like Expedia or brands like Peloton or, have all been on the platform, right? So we were looking at where there's a particular digital outcome, whether it's in an app, like dating apps, they were big for a while. But what's happened with Innovid is, Innovid has like General Motors as an example, and they're now leaning in saying, wait, now we can get the detail that we've been waiting for. Not only can we get it cross-platform, so we can get CTV and linear and addressable, but we can get it globally. So I think, we also started off working very closely with the likes of Comcast Effective, where we onboarded over 1,000 advertisers for local cable, right? Spectrum Reach and Charter are partners of ours. So we did, Tegna is a partner of ours, 2,500 advertisers on the platform. So that gives you a sense of the scale. They are adding advertisers themselves. That's how easy it is. And they're adding thousands and thousands of these smaller cable or local broadcast advertisers. And then on the flip side of that, we have our brand direct business that started in performance, but because of CTV, we're adding, big financial services brands, big QSR restaurants, things that, they want to try CTV and they want to have measurement. So just by the nature of the fragmentation of the market, we're now starting to see these much bigger brands come on. When you bring Innovid to the party, they've really focused on this 40% of the top 200. So giant advertisers. Right. So we've got both ends of the spectrum, which makes it nice.
Can you guys maybe walk me through a typical use case, and maybe it might make sense to break it in half, like what it looks like for a classic performance brand, and what it looks like for a GM, or maybe not, but like what do they do? What do they see? How do they use it? If you could maybe just walk me through a couple of examples.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a couple, and maybe you want to as well, Joe. There's lots. So from a brand perspective, they'll talk to us. We'll spin up a platform for them, and that can happen immediately. We'll connect the data. And again, that can happen very, very quickly. We might also be connecting their first-party data if we're doing attribution. Again, that's a wizard. It doesn't take very long at all. Then we have all the data in the platform. And from that point on, you'll be guided through the platform and with our team to show you, one, the value you're getting overall. If you're buying linear, if you're buying CTV, if you're buying a combination, how they interact, how they overlap, where you're getting a lot of performance on your own terms. So the performance could be an effective CPM to reach 1,000 new eyeballs. It could be a particular frequency that you want to achieve. It could be a frequency cap. It could be response rates. It could be cost per sale. It really depends on what you want to achieve. So you set up your goals, and then the platform will show you a kind of a diagnostic view that says, okay, well, this is what you achieved historically. It'll give you some clear views as to what you might want to make changes to. And then it can also make automatic recommendations and say, hey, you know what, if you want to achieve this particular eCPM or this particular cost per, then we recommend you make these changes to the plan. Depending on who's consuming the information, because quite often it'll be, the agency will have access, the brand marketing team. It could be the strategy team of the agency has access as well. They'll have their own different views, and then they will quite often just go off and do their thing, but we're on hand to give advice if needed.
Okay.
Typically, in a CTV example, if you have a brand who is mid-size and testing out CTV publishers on a direct IO basis, they'll load the data, they'll look at it in a day or two, and then they'll make a decision. They'll say, well, this is working really well. We've got to change the placement. We're going to change the audience targeting. We're going to change this or that. Or they'll let it run for a few weeks and see how it beds in. But they typically look, make decisions, and then change things on the fly based on performance.